IG Live, just like it's your first IG Live. So there we go.
Here we go. We can break ground together.
Yeah,
So I gave just an introduction before inviting you on. I was telling everybody how my name is Amy. I am a trauma-informed life coach at Ascension LifeCoaching. And I am so thrilled to be joined today with Kerri, my friend and colleague, who is also a trauma recovery coach and life coach. And Kerri, could you just give us a brief introduction in your words?
Well, I suffered trauma as a childhood, in my childhood, and I, really worked hard to heal from that. So this is just like my journey of evolution, going from a child to an adult. I feel like I've lived 3 different lives, and that's, it's been a great experience, and I'm just glad to be here. I'm a life and a trauma recovery coach, and I love reaching out and being able to help others.
Wonderful. Thank you. I hear you. As a survivor myself, I say the same thing. I also feel like I have lived 3 different lives. I used to say chapters, but no, it's way more profound than different chapters. It's different books. It's different series. So I hear you on that, and I'm sure a lot of our audience will too. So Kerri, I invited you here today so that we can have a discussion in honor of National Sexual Assault Prevention and Awareness Month.
Okay.
And I think that this is an especially important topic any time of the year, of course. This is a trauma, as many traumas, that affects people across all barriers, across all borders. I mean, sexual orientation, national origin, socioeconomic borders, religions, people of every background many people of every background experience sexual abuse.
Right.
And so I have a few questions here for you. I would like to start in, what are some of the common side effects or after effects that survivors of sexual abuse experience, and how does it affect them in different areas of their life?
So it affects their self-esteem, their body, their feelings, their capacity for intimacy, their sexuality, the way that they parent, the way they deal with, their family relationships. I mean, it just across the board, it affects them in so many different ways. And they're always questioning who they are, how they're supposed to walk in the world. They feel bad, they feel dirty, they feel ashamed. They don't recognize their own feelings a lot of times. They differentiate between different emotions. Some of them they can't even put, names or words to. They're afraid to succeed because they're afraid of what they don't know. They hate so many parts about themselves because people have written so many bad things on their slate. And so, when you're abused as a child, it forever changed the way you walk in the world, the way you view yourself, the way you view the world, and the way you interact with others.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You said so many things, but there was one thing in particular that really jumped out at me, because I see this showing up in so many coaching conversations. You said something to the effect of people are afraid to succeed because they don't know what, that feels like, what that looks like. And I'm going off script here a little bit, but I think that that is just such an important facet to all of this. We feel that fear of success as a brick wall sometimes. It is so hard for survivors to even envision what their life can look like. We struggle to envision our own potential, right. And then we're afraid of it at the same time.
Exactly. So, we have all these coping mechanisms and all these, maladaptive ways that we're so used to taking care of ourselves from the time that we're young. We didn't have people that nurtured us. So as adults, we go through life and we know how to manage the bad. We know, it may not be the right way, but we know how to manage it. But when we think about what we don't know, that's scary because we've never touched on that. So how am I going to be successful? How will I manage that? How will I take on this new task? It's just so many different things that they live on the sidelines of their own life because they're afraid of those new experiences because they're not used to those. They don't know how to manage those. And even though how they're managing today is not healthy in regard to their physical being, their emotional being. They know how to manage that, and they're comfortable with that because they know it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I was thinking, I love that you said that they stand on the sideline of their own life. Because as you're talking, I'm thinking it's like trying to be a trailblazer and adventurer in your own life when you were taught that all of that unknown is scary and dangerous.
Well,
And
you
so,
have that background of I'm bad, I'm dirty, I have a reason to be ashamed, I'm powerless, I'm different from other people. There's something wrong deep down inside of me. How can I, guide other people? I don't deserve this. If people really knew me, they wouldn't love me type situation.
exactly. So it's a lot of hurdles to overcome. And through coaching and many other modalities, we can provide our clients with the tools to learn how to do exactly that.
Yes. Yes.
I wanted to ask you about a post that you made on Instagram. I'm just going to read it real quick. Trauma is personal. It cannot be ignored. Your silent screams are heard internally throughout your body, holding you captive. It is only when someone enters your pain and hears your screams that healing can truly begin.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to us?
So I believe that quote is from Danielle Burnock, if I remember the name correctly. And when I read that, it just, I don't know. I was very impacted by that quote because there are so many invisible dimensions to pain and scars and the after effects of trauma. The pain and suffering doesn't end when the abuse ends or when the relationship dissolves. The turning point in healing and restoration of oneself is invalidation. It's in connection with someone else. So that's really where healing starts. And when the experience, the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions of a trauma survivor are ignored or invalidated, the silent screams of those exact thoughts and feelings and emotions continue to be heard internally throughout their body, and it holds them captive in that space. So when someone listens to them, when someone compassionately gives them space to share um, what they've been through, what their experience has been, and explore and sort out those thoughts and those feelings and their emotions, and further validates what they've experienced, they've entered the survivor's pain, and they've heard those screams from that captive place within them. And that's where healing truly begins. They're able to talk it out, and they're able to have a partner in that relationship to really help them understand where they were at that time and where they are now, and to look at it from a more logical perspective.
Mm, that's beautiful and powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you. What exercises can survivors practice to help them heal? And what self-care steps can they take both for the long term and the short term?
Okay. There's so many different things out there now. People are doing like the EMDR, which is the eye movement desensitization. That word is crazy. And reprocessing. That's used for psychological stress. There's also somatic therapy, which focuses on their personal connection with themselves, their physical mental connection. Mm-hmm. But I find that physical exercise is really good as well, strength training and yoga, because yoga is, you're really getting in touch with who you are internally. And you're tapping into a place that needs to be nurtured. And in tapping into that, you can take care of your needs, listen for what your own needs are, nurture yourself, right there in that moment. But I don't think that there's any wrong way. There's so many different ways that you can approach it. And I think every trauma survivor needs to find the way that works best for them. I personally did kickboxing for years, and that was a great, great healing therapy for me. It helped with my anger, and it also helped me to, keep my body in a physical shape where I was always, on alert. I was active. I was very present with myself, and was able to take care of my needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me. And I just have to echo the words present with yourself. That is
Yeah.
so important. That is such a huge piece to all of this. You know, many of us tend to dissociate. We check out. We are not present with ourselves. We are not comfortable in our own bodies because, especially with sexual assault, it's our bodies that have been so traumatized, you know, directly. And so that being present with yourself and learning to reconnect with your physical self in ways that feel safe can be revolutionary.
Yeah. Well, neurologically, our bodies, they listen to all of our senses, the smell, the taste, the sight, the sounds, all of that. So when you find yourself in a situation where you're not feeling um, grounded from a spiritual perspective, it's great to be able to take the time in that moment and recognize whether or not you're safe and
Yeah.
look at everything that's around you and touch on all of those feelings, those senses, and find out what it is that is, not allowing you to be grounded in that moment, and work from there and nurture it from that place right there.
Yes. Yes. It's almost like what you're describing is finding the point of entry at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's actually touching on that pain. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's beautiful work. It's very difficult, but it's beautiful work.
Yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah. And what does safety look like to a person in their healing?
I believe it's having someone that you can go to and get a compassionate ear, someone who allows you to express yourself and holds that space for you and has that conversation with you and helps you understand where you are in the moment, where you've been, what you were capable of then, what you're capable of now, and empowering you to move forward in a more healthier way to allow you to grow
Mhm.
and emotionally mature from that place on.
Which is touching back on someone to come alongside your pain and hear your screams.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
so beneficial for a trauma survivor because we're so silenced when we're in the midst of that trauma as a child. Our boundaries have been taken from us, and we're told that our words don't count, and what we want for ourselves don't count. So to have somebody come alongside us and let us know, yes, it does, it opens up a whole new world for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And a world that many of us have never been able to envision.
Right.
It's a brand new world of possibilities.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so moving towards that end, why is it important to seek professional help when you're struggling with your own trauma, especially sexual abuse?
It's to get a better understanding of who you are as an individual, what was then, what is now. It's having someone give you the skills to move forward.
Mm,
When we're nurtured as children, we don't have those skills. We're not taught what our feelings mean, uh, what they're for. We're not taught how to help ourselves. And so to have someone come alongside and hold your hand and partner with you and give you those skills so that when you're out in the world and you feel like your soul is unsteady, you have the skills to stop in your tracks and establish your own safety and feel out your own situation, look at all of those senses and see what it is again that's making you feel unsteady. And in that moment, giving yourself an understanding and nurturing right then and there.
mhm. I love that you use the word partner. And I think that it's just really important to emphasize that we're not in this alone. No one is
No.
in this alone. There is help, and we can come alongside our clients and partner with them in their healing journey.
Well, what it is they say is abuse happens in isolation, but healing happens in connection. So
Exactly.
it's really being able to establish a connection to get an understanding of a true relationship, but also an understanding of who you are.
Mm, that's
And
beautiful.
honoring yourself, learning how you want to move through the world.
Right. And as we draw our IG life to a close today, or do you have any final words you would like to share with us in recognition of National Abuse Awareness Month? Excuse me, Sexual Abuse Awareness Month?
I want to encourage anyone out there that has suffered that type of trauma to reach out and find someone to help them. It's very, very hard to navigate that road alone because you didn't have a foundation when you were young. And not having that foundation as you move forward in your relationships, you don't know who to trust. You don't know yourself well enough to feel as if you can even trust your own instincts. So if you don't feel safe in your own body and you don't feel safe with people outside of your body, it's a very hard road to navigate. So I encourage you to call someone, have an appointment with someone, and find someone that has lived the life that you lived and experienced traumas. Because if they've healed from them themselves, they know the direction to take you. And that's so important. If they haven't felt your pain and they haven't been able to experience feelings and emotions that they couldn't give words to, they're not really going to know how to direct you to move forward. So it's so powerful to have someone that has walked in your shoes.
And that just takes it to an even deeper level of connection.
It does. Make sure that connection is there. That's so important. As a trauma coach myself, or even a life coach, I make sure up front that I have a really good connection with them. I'll even coach them a few times in the beginning to make sure it's there, because I need to be comfortable as well. It needs to be a very, very team effort there, both of us. So make sure you find someone and honor yourself in that way. Make sure you have that connection, because with that connection, you will be able to move forward and build the life that you love.
Right. Kerri, thank you so much for joining me today to have this conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me, Amy. I'm so excited that we did this today, and I'm so glad that I did it with you.
Me too. I really appreciate you being alongside, partnering with me today as we traverse Instagram lives for the first time and working through all of the tech funk.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so glad. I want to thank everybody that tuned in today as well. These conversations are so important, and we're coming so far in the world to making a huge difference and changing the lives of so many people. So thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this with us.
Yes, I have to echo that. Thank you everyone that is here. And please, Kerri and I both welcome questions. Feel free to reach out on Instagram. You can find me anyway on Instagram, Facebook, and of course at ascensionlifecoach.com. Kerri, where can they find you?
KerriCoaching.com. That's KERRI coaching.com. Feel free to send me a message there. I'd love it. Or connect with me on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Kerri. And thank you, everyone. I hope you all go forth and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.